Alright, so as promised, I am finally going to do documentation on my Forex method. This has changed a little bit from 15-minute testing using 5-minute and a top-down analysis. So in this first video, I want to go over the difference between the standard template and what I'm using. So what you see here is the standard new Momentum Master template applied to a chart. I generally run charts shrunk to one side of the screen, so I have my new template set up for that. That helps me with having navigator window, which we'll see later. So essentially, the template that I'm using looks like this. So you can see I've shrunk down the divergence indicators, I've added volumes, I've turned period separators on, I've changed the color on the current price line, and I've also moved the times to the top right corner so they don't get in the way in the volumes, and it also matches where it's at on the FibMaster chart. Okay, so one other thing on my Momentum Master template, so if you're setting up your own template or you're starting into 5-minute Forex, on the indicators, two of the divergences have alerts, the CCI. You can see here we have display alert. I have set that to false so that I'm not getting a pop-up every 5 minutes across 18 different pairs. That can definitely use up your computer resources when you're trying to look at a 5-minute candle close. So the other one is the MACD divergence. Here also has display alert as well, so I've set both of those to false, and they are set that way in the template. So if we take a look at FibMaster, this is the standard FibMaster chart with the max zone range of 10 and min zone score of 3.5. I have shifted my ranges around a little bit for the new template, so I don't know if I will keep those or not, but those will be documented in the post for you, and you'll be able to see them as well. So most of the differences are going to be on this chart. So let's take a look at this same chart on the 1 hour with everything that I have added. So let me turn on drawing tools so I can highlight everything. So you can see that I've changed the range to 15. I'm using 3.5 on everything. I have two templates that you guys are going to be able to use if you want, and I'm also going to go over adding all of the indicators if you want to save your own template or add it into one that you're using. So I'm using that, and I'm using 15 and 10 for all pairs right now. Basically, if it's 140 or above 10-day range, I'm using 15. If it's below that, I'm using 10. You can see here I've added the candle countdown and shrunk it a little bit. I've also added 4 hour. I have added 4 multi-time frame EMAs, the 4 hour 55, the daily 55, the 4 hour 200, and the daily 200, which of course you can see doesn't look like it's moving very much at the moment. A couple other things I've added. Let me move the chart a little bit so you can see it better. Alright, so here we have daily range calculator, where we've moved today, what happened the previous week, and we also have a signal bar, which helps me with analysis for current direction and which time frames I want to look at when I'm doing analysis for areas that I will want to take entries from on the 5-minute. And I'm not using the 34 EMA, but here you'll see that we have daily, and if you guys have used this before, take note, because the daily and the 4 hour are swapped if you do not have it aligned on the right side of the chart, which I do not. So here you can see that we have a 34 and 55 EMA cross, which is for directionality, and then where the price is versus the 200 EMA. So basically that's telling you is the 34 above or below the 55, and is the price above or below the 200 on your 4-hour and on your daily. If it's below, it'll be red, sell bias, and if it's above, it'll be green. And you'll see sometimes we'll get mixed. I will get into that more when I do my analysis. I'm going to do an analysis for the week, and I'm going to try to do one every week. I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not. We'll see. At least a video analysis anyway. So let's look at what else I've changed. I've also changed the colors here, the period separator, and I've changed the line there. You can see where on this chart we have no line on current price. I prefer that to be there. So again, we have volumes, and let's look at higher time frames. So on the 4-hour, I have my templates set to turn off the super convergence zone above 1 hour basically. So 4-hour and up, it's not going to show up there. That's because I generally use fib levels. For instance, pound New Zealand dollar. So before I created my new templates, we finished up the previous week, but the bias is down. So I'm going to fib this area. And that's my default colors is yellow. And I will get into more of this later. I'm just going to add in what I had real quick. And I will also fib the last big move up. And I will change that. So you can see where this gets a little bit crowded if we have super convergence zone on. Okay, so let's look at, if you guys want to use this template, how you can get it, how to apply it, where everything goes. I'm sure most of you will be pretty familiar with this. So first, I have added everything into a zip file, and I've also created or it's actually an RAR, and I've created a self-extracting for that. So if you want to use a template, I'm just going to do that real quick so that we can get on to making one. Let's not do it that way. So you can go to extract files, or you can use the self-extractor. It's going to be pretty much the same way. But what you want to do here is navigate to wherever you want to put them, and you'll see I have multiple MetaTrader installs. So here I've now selected where my MetaTrader install was, and I'm going to click OK, and it's going to put everything where it needs to be. You see I already have this stuff, so it's asking me to override it. You can see it's trying to put the indicator in the indicator folder, so I'm just going to go ahead and click no for this because I don't need to override my own stuff. Also included in this is a script to undock your charts from MetaTrader and move them wherever you want, separate monitor or another part of the screen. We'll see what I use that for in a little bit, but that's part of what this is for in the libraries folder. And script to undock the chart. And then here we have the templates. So after that runs, okay, I just paused the video for a second because I needed to check something. So I have to fix the RAR file. I forgot to make it a template that doesn't have my information in it. So I will do that, and you guys will be able to use that. So that's really quickly how to use those. Oh, so once you've extracted everything and it's where you need it, just close out MetaTrader and open it back up so it knows where your indicators are. And to apply it, it's just like applying any other template. So you got Momentum Master FX. You can rename those if you need to. So now the Momentum Master chart that I had up looks like the one that I have. Sometimes you'll notice that stuff gets broken, the arrow lines get broken, just change time frames and it'll fix them. So let's go over if you want to use this stuff on your own template. So we're going to go back to the beginning. I'm not going to move stuff down, but I am going to go through each indicator in the charts. So first I'm just going to go to chart properties. I don't use auto scroll, I do use shift. I turn open, high, low, close off. I don't really need it in the top left corner. Show period separators is on, show volumes is on. And then for colors, I'm going to change grid to silver. And on this chart, it's just going to change the line on the current price. And the period separators are going to be silver. Or white, actually, they're foreground. Period separators are foreground. And the only indicator change on this one is the corner of the countdown window, or countdown timer. It's going to be 1. Alright, so this chart, of course, has all the stuff on it. So let's make this. First, you're going to go to properties again. Period separators are on, show volumes. No auto scroll. Colors, grid is going to be silver, and that gives me the line on current price again. Alright, so for this chart, I'm just going to change the super convergence zone. Let me do that slower for anybody that is new to this. Alright, so we're going to right click on the chart, go to indicators list, go to super convergence zone, and we're going to change this to 15. And that is it. It will update. If you want it to draw dots backwards, the quicker way to do that, if your system's not doing that, is just to change the time frame. Alright, so the other thing that I'm going to do is go back into super convergence zone where we just were. I'm going to change the visualization, and I'm going to select everything below 4 hour. So when we go to 4 hour charts, we won't see that. Alright, let's add the indicators. So I'm just going to look for these in order. I have a ton of them. So the first one we'll add is a daily range calculator. Settings that I'm using for this in the template that I just showed, not going to be the top right corner. We're going to shift down by 20 and to the side by 380. I'm going to go back to that daily range, and I'm going to change the comment label to white. Alright, so let's go to the next indicator. That's it for that one. Make sure I'm not skipping anything. Alright, so we're going to add this. We're going to add the signal bar, which is going to be in the IEAs, that section. So we'll add the signal bar. This one we're going to have to shift as well. This one's not going to be on the top right. Shift down by 20 and shift to the right by 210. And here we have to change all of the label colors, if I could speak, to white. All right. Next indicator, I'm going to add the candle countdown. This is from the Momentum Master chart. It's a Momentum Master indicator. And the only thing we're going to change here is the corner, and we're going to make text a little bit smaller. So font size, we're going to get out of 12. And I would like to show the 4 hour, which I believe I forgot to do on the Momentum Master chart. So I prefer to have the 4 hour just because I'm bad about paying attention to when the 4 hour close is. So let's do that here as well. Go back to candle countdown. Turn the 4 hour on. There we go. All right, so the reason that I shrink the time here is because generally I have my charts open like this. So you can see here we're not getting an overlap. All right, so now let's add the EMAs. Open that back up. So there's going to be 4 of them. It's moving average MTF, which is multi-time frame. So we're going to drag one over, show it on all time frames. Go to inputs. Let's add the dailies first. So daily is going to be 1440. We're going to add a 55, and your MA method of 1 is going to be an EMA. So we'll do daily again, 200, and MA method of 1. And now we need to do it for 4 hour, which is going to be 240, 55, and 1, and one more. So 240 again, 200, and 1. And I completely forgot to set the colors and the width. All right, so let's go back in and do this. You can, if you're setting this up yourself, you can go ahead and change these at the same time. All right, so here we have the daily 55. So I want this to be chocolate, and since it's daily, I want a thicker width. This one is the daily 200, which I have set to magenta. Now we have the 4 hour 55. So the width is going to be the same. Just going to change the color. And this one will be the 200, again with the smaller width. All right. Now sometimes these will look very odd when they draw. If you just change time frames, it will look normal. All right, so let's go to a chart where we can see all of them, and I'll just point them out. So you can see we have the thinner lines, 200, 55, and then the daily, we have the thicker lines, the 200 and the 55. And I'm going to talk more about how I use those in another video. This one's just for setup, and it's getting kind of long already. But basically those can be used for direction and also for more market structure to take trades around or not take trades directly into if we have a lot of stuff crammed into a high traffic area. Okay, so now we're going to add the pivots, but one thing I want to point out, if you noticed earlier in the video when we added signal bar, we're missing the label for yesterday. If you look back earlier in the video, that's just because there's an overlap that you can't see, basically. So to fix that, what we're going to do is just delete that and reattach it. So before, the first indicator that we added was the daily range. So it was here. And then when we added the signal bar, it makes a conflict with that indicator. So all I've done is deleted the daily range indicator, and then I've drug it back onto the chart. You can see it's now down here below the signal bar indicator in the list. So then we just go back in, and the settings we're going to change here. Change this to from true to false. Shift up down to 20, side to side to 380, and change the comment label color to white. Okay. So sorry about that, guys. I didn't notice it until just now. All right, so now we're going to add the pivots. Just right here, pivot MW5. So even though I have a 5-digit broker, I'm going to change that to false. And I'm going to turn on all of these settings. So that show monthly pivots, use the daily formula, show weekly pivots, use the daily formula, and then we're going to come all the way down to the bottom, change the pivot label color to white, and I like to see the price in the labels. You can turn that on or off if you wish. And there we have all the pivots. Now you can see that the monthly and weekly pivots overlap. If you would like to only see the monthly pivots on the daily or higher time frame, we just have to change a couple settings and add that indicator again. So we're going to go back into that indicator. We're going to turn off monthly pivots, and then we're going to go over to visualization, and we're going to set this to everything lower than the daily, because this is going to be your weekly pivots. Alright, so now we have weekly only. We're going to drag that indicator onto the chart again. We're going to change it to daily, weekly, and monthly. We're going to go back to our inputs and change them all again. 5-digit to false. This time we're going to show the monthly pivots, and we're going to leave the weekly pivots off. Change the label color, and put the price in. And now we will have monthly pivots when we're looking at the daily or higher time frame. And this can help you when you're doing your analysis, looking for an area that you want to trade around, whether it be counter trend to catch a pullback or with the trend, where we're at. Sometimes we'll pull back into a monthly pivot, but for the most part, I use the weekly pivots more than the monthly. All right, so that is how you can add those indicators if you would like to add them to your own template. So let's say you already had a template set up for VidMaster that you liked. You added all that stuff. Just go to template, save it as whatever you want, and there you go. You can do that. Now I'm going to touch on one more thing in this video, and then I'm going to be done. I'm going to show you Market Watch. You see I have 9 pairs running here, and I have another installation. This is the exact same account. It's just another install of MetaTrader, and I have another 10 here, I believe. So I've basically split all the pairs in half, and I have Navigator running on a completely separate install. So this helps me split up my system resources. So if you have problems with your charts being slow, if you have a fast computer but your charts are still slow and you check and your system resources aren't being used up, your RAM is less than say 65% and your processor is not being utilized more than 50%, you can try and split this up to help reduce the strain on the MetaTrader program itself. And all you have to do this is wherever you download your MetaTrader installer from your broker, you simply run that installer again and choose a new location. All right, so you see here, I have this installation named as Triple Threat Gold Trading 2. It's a FinFX setup. Now let's say you made new templates. You took the indicators and made new templates out of them. You made this template and this template. Let me change colors so you guys can actually see that. Let me not use a square. All right, so that template and that template. So all we have to do is, if you have two installations and you need to move something around, simply highlight, copy, Control C. I'm going to go back to Program Files, and you can see I have, this is my other set of charts. So we'll go in there. You can see now it's TTG3. There's the templates folder. And we'll just paste them in there. And I'm not going to replace them because I already have them there. I don't need to. So that's how you can move templates around. You can also move indicators around. You can copy over all of your Momentum Master and Fib Master if you're setting up a new platform, a new MetaTrader platform, as long as it's on the same account, as long as you're running the same account. So all those are going to be in the MQL4 folder. And then indicators. And my dog's probably in the video now. I'll edit her out if I have time. And here are all your Momentum Master indicators, or whatever indicators you need to copy over. So that's an easy way to move stuff between platforms. All right, I am going to stop for now, and I will have, by the time you're watching this, I will have a bunch of videos posted